Learning how we learn. I am Ashanti Matthew Lee, an EFL teacher in Guri, South Korea, and I teach at Donghua High School. I teach EFL students, and I will present to you today. Today we will discuss facts about the brain, how the brain takes in information, neuroplasticity, creating meaningful patterns for learning, types of memory, and strategies that can enhance learning. Here's some brain facts. The brain weighs 3 pounds. It is the second largest organ in the body, the first being the skin. It uses 10 times more oxygen than any other part of our body. It uses 20 to 25% of the energy in our body. There are about 100 billion neurons in the brain. What is a neuron? Let's explore that question. This is what a neuron looks like. A neuron or nerve cell is a cell that receives information from other nerve cells or from the sensory organs and then projects that information to other cells. It is responsible for the relay, process, and storing of information. The parts of the neuron that receive information are called dendrites, and the parts that send information are called axon terminals. How the brain takes in information. Neurons are essential for learning. Here we have a neuron. This is a dendrite. It receives the information. The information then goes to the axon and is sent out through the axon terminal, which sends information to receiving neurons. An electrical impulse travels through the axon to the axon branches, which are then sent out to other neurons through the neuron terminals and make connections which form pathways. Learning is the act of making these pathways or connections and strengthening them. Making stronger connections would help make information more accessible. Therefore, as an educator learns about the brain and how learning works, the question becomes, how do we help our students make and strengthen these connections? One key is to know that the brain is not fixed and that it can grow. Neuroplasticity. For a long time it was believed that as we aged, the connections in the brain became fixed. Research, however, has shown that in fact the brain never stops changing through learning. The brain, like a tree. We can grow our brains. They never stop growing and making new connections. Here is a video about neuroplasticity. Next, creating meaningful patterns for learning. The brain seeks meaningful patterns which cause it to create a network of information. If there is no network in the student's brain to hook new information to, the brain will drop it. Therefore, it is a teacher's job to create a network. One way teachers can create networks is to hook new information to old information, so that we will build upon what students already know. Now let's look at some types of memory. Briefly discuss memory. We're going to specifically focus on declarative memory and procedural memory. Declarative memory remembers facts and events. Procedural memory focuses on skills and tasks, things that you learn from doing over and over again. It's kind of like automatic memory. Now let's look a little bit more closer at declarative memory. We have episodic memory, which are events and experiences, and semantic memory, which are facts and concepts. Next, strategies that can enhance learning. The types of strategies you use should be parsed based on the kind of memory you want to activate. Here are the 2 types of rehearsal for memory. Rehearsal are mental techniques used to remember information. We have maintenance, which is a procedural memory, repeating information over and over again. It makes automatic. Elaborative. This is when you relate and hook old information to new information. This way you can build connections that are lasting over time and are more effective. If you want to activate procedural memory, you can do so by repetition or rote rehearsal. However, activating declarative memory often increases the probability that one would remember information. This could be done using elaborative rehearsal. Some ways to activate declarative memory through elaborative rehearsal. You can relate information to personal experiences. You can promote deeper thought processes and critical thinking. Now we will look a little bit closer at critical thinking in subsequent slides. You can present information using multiple modalities. Consists of analyzing, applying standards, discriminating, information seeking, logical reasoning, and predicting and transforming knowledge. Here are some critical thinking skills: analyzing, reasoning, evaluating, decision making, and problem solving. Essential to help students develop critical thinking skills. Strategies for elaborative rehearsal to help students develop critical thinking skills. We can get students to think more critically by using debate. For example, in my EFL class, I had my students debate whether or not, to save the environment, we should all become vegetarians, and also this statement: because of the destruction of the environment, humans will live on another planet in the next 100 years. We can also use strategies such as discussion, self-assessment, think, pair, share, project-based learning, asking probing questions, and interactive exercises. Here are more strategies for elaborative rehearsal. You can also activate declarative memory by using reciprocal or peer tutoring, metaphor or analogy, visuals and graphics, hands-on activities, rhyme, and rap, and presenting information in different platforms: concept charts, narrative texts, review sections, special diagrams, and more. In conclusion, it is essential for teachers to learn how students learn. The more we learn about learning, the better we can effectively connect our teaching strategies in order to make sure students create enduring and long-lasting networks of information. Thank you. Thank you.